I'd lived in the small town of Cedar Hollow for barely 2 months when I received the note that changed everything. It was a quiet place, too quiet, perhaps, but after my divorce, that's exactly what I thought I needed. My little house sat at the edge of town, backed by thick woods that whispered at night. My nearest neighbor, an old man named Walter, lived 2 houses down. He rarely spoke, except to nod curtly when I waved. That Tuesday evening started like any other. I made myself tea, fed my cat, and stepped out onto the porch. The air was heavy with the scent of rain, and thunder murmured somewhere beyond the trees. I was about to head inside when I noticed something tucked beneath the flower pot by my steps, a folded piece of paper, edges damp from the mist. In neat, trembling handwriting, it read, "Get out of here if you want to live." I froze. My first instinct was that it was a prank. Maybe one of the local kids thought it'd be funny to scare the newcomer, but something about the handwriting, old-fashioned, careful, reminded me of Walter. My stomach tightened. I looked toward his house. The porch light was on, but the windows were dark. A faint flicker of movement crossed behind the curtains, or maybe it was just a trick of the lightning. I almost crumpled the note and tossed it away, but curiosity and unease rooted me to the spot. I went inside, locked the door, and turned on every light in the house. My phone had no signal as usual. The service here was terrible, one of the reasons I planned to install a landline soon. I tried to calm myself, telling my racing mind that small towns had their quirks. Maybe Walter had a strange sense of humor, but then I heard it, a faint hum, low, mechanical, like the vibration of something underground. It wasn't thunder this time. It was constant, steady, almost pulsing through the floorboards. My cat hissed, tail puffed, eyes locked on the back door. I checked the windows. The forest behind my yard was eerily still. No wind, no rustling leaves, just that low hum growing louder. Then came the lights. At first I thought it was lightning again, but it wasn't flashing. It was steady, glowing white through the trees, too bright, too silent. The hairs on my arms rose. My phone buzzed suddenly, startling me. A text message from an unknown number, 10 minutes. I tried to reply, but the signal dropped again. My hands trembled as I grabbed a flashlight, keys, and jacket. I was halfway to the door when the humming stopped. The silence that followed was worse than the noise. Even the rain had paused, like the world was holding its breath. That's when I saw movement outside my kitchen window. Something tall, human, shaped but not quite. Its outline shimmered faintly, as if made of air that was bending light around it. My breath caught, the shape tilted its head, and the motion made my stomach lurch. Another light flashed across my living room wall, a narrow beam, sweeping slowly, searching. I didn't think. I bolted out the front door into the wet grass, sprinting toward Walter's house. My feet splashed in puddles as I ran, heart hammering so hard it drowned out every sound. His front door was ajar. Inside, the house smelled of dust and oil. "Walter," I called, voice breaking. No answer. The note crumpled in my pocket felt suddenly heavier, as though it carried weight beyond words. On his kitchen table lay maps, hand-drawn, lines and circles marking something beneath the town. At the center, a point labeled Field Station 7. My house was only a few inches away from that mark. Then, from behind the door, I heard him whisper, "You shouldn't have come here. They're already awake." Before I could ask what he meant, the humming started again, this time right beneath our feet. The floor vibrated, glasses rattled in their cupboards, and Walter pulled me into the basement without another word. The old man's face was pale, eyes wide behind thick lenses. He moved with surprising speed for someone his age, yanking open a hatch I hadn't noticed before. Beneath it lay a narrow tunnel lined with wooden beams. "In here," he hissed. "Don't make a sound." I hesitated. "What's going on? What are those things?" He looked up at me, expression hollow. "Not things, people, or what's left of them. They come from under the old field station. The government buried it decades ago after the experiments went wrong, but the ground doesn't forget. The air below was damp and cold." I climbed down the ladder, my flashlight trembling in my hand. The tunnel stretched far, lit only by thin slivers of moonlight filtering through cracks above. Behind me, Walter sealed the hatch, then above us, footsteps. Slow, deliberate, heavy, I pressed my hand to my mouth, fighting the urge to breathe too loudly. The steps moved across the floor, stopped, then something metallic scraped, like claws dragging against the wood. A sound followed, low and distorted, like static mixed with human breathing. "Stay still," Walter whispered. We waited in silence for what felt like hours. When the noise finally faded, he exhaled shakily. "They can sense motion. Heat, maybe. I thought they died when the lab flooded. I was wrong. You worked there." I asked. He nodded. Before it was shut down, we were testing a resonance field. Energy strong enough to bend matter, but it opened. Something, a rift. Most of the team vanished. The rest changed. His voice cracked. I stayed to keep watch, to warn anyone who got too close. I thought of the note, of how carefully he'd written it. "You knew they'd come tonight. They always come when the storms roll in. The pressure stirs them." A distant thud echoed through the tunnel. I gripped the flashlight tighter. "We can't stay here." He motioned ahead. "There's another exit near the creek. If we're lucky." A shriek cut him off, a sound that didn't belong to any living thing. The walls of the tunnel shook, dust raining from above. Then I saw them. Pale shapes, crawling down the walls like insects, faces half-formed, eyes glowing faintly blue. "Run!" Walter shouted. We stumbled through the narrow passage, the sound of pursuit echoing behind us, scraping, hissing, voices whispering words I couldn't understand. My lungs burned. The tunnel opened suddenly into a clearing by the creek. Rain poured again, masking the sound of our gasps. Walter collapsed, clutching his chest. "Go." He rasped, "I'm not leaving you." He looked at me with something like peace. "You'll make it if you keep moving. They won't follow past the water. It interferes with the field." Before I could protest, the ground behind him split open, a burst of light swallowing the tunnel mouth. I stumbled back as the glow dimmed, leaving only steam and the smell of ozone. Walter was gone. I ran until my legs gave out, collapsing by the road just as dawn crept over the horizon. When I finally reached town, no one believed me. They said the field station was just a rumor, that Walter had died years ago. His house, they told me, had been empty for decades. But sometimes, when storms roll in and the hum begins beneath the ground, I still hear his voice whispering, "Get out of here if you want to live."